Yo, what's up? It's Matt. All right, you might be thinking about becoming a freight broker or an agent. And you're like, how, very similar roles, by the way, how are they moving so many loads from like here to there without ever leaving their desk? What's the process? What's the step-by-step? We got you. We have a little bit of visuals too. Got some icons now. We're upgrading a little bit. Step one is all about just locking in the shipper. So brokers start by talking directly to the shipper. So you've made a relationship with one, whether it be from a phone call or you went in person or you sent an email, and you have understood their needs. You have offered a solution to their needs, basic sales strategies, and then eventually you're receiving an email from one asking for a rate quote, and likely they'll just give you the origin and destination, city and state. And then, maybe just the basic stuff, like how many pallets, the weight, and like what the product is. So you log on to your load board, enter in that information, and it'll basically use historical lane data to just let you know what carriers have moved this lane for in the past. So let's say it spits out a carrier rate for $500, and you're like, you know what, I want to make $50 on this load. So then you go back to the shipper, you ask for $550. The shipper agrees and then sends you the rest of the load details. And that could include like the pickup times and addresses and point of contacts, really anything that like a carrier would need to know in order to make the load process as easy as possible for them. The shipper then agrees on the rate, and then it's up to you to then formalize things with like a rate quote agreement. And then basically that's kind of like the handshake that kicks everything off. So then number two, your job as a freight broker or an agent is just to find the right carrier to move the load. So at that point, you post all of those load details on the load board, and that's where a lot of carriers live. They're looking for loads. They're talking to brokers and shippers maybe to try and figure out like how, where am I going to go next? What am I going to pick up? So then you are waiting for emails and calls to come through from carriers who are interested in moving that load for the rate that you posted. And the rate will pretty much almost always change during that conversation. And from there, you're basically then just working out like the pickup and delivery times, and then just like nailing down like the payment details. So for example, some carriers are like, hey, you know what? You can pay me in 30 days. I don't want to be charged to get paid like overnight. And then some are like, yeah, I want to be quick paid, which is what it's called. And you can basically get your factoring company that you'll partner up with to pay them within like 1 to 2 days. And they charge you a rate of typically like 1.5% of the revenue. And most carriers, I would say, choose the quick pay option. So then once the carrier is locked in, the broker then sends the rate confirmation over to the carrier, which basically is like another formal agreement that spells out all the details just to make sure that everyone is on the same page, otherwise known as a carrier packet. And it basically includes like your contract as well and everything. It's all stuff that I include, by the way, in my course, How to Become a Freight Broker, if you are interested in becoming one, or an agent, by the way. It's basically like a 2-in-1. So then the broker works with the shipper and the receiver to then set up pickup and delivery times. And that is up to the broker to do, not the driver. And then let's say that your main point of contact, like your customer, is at a whole separate location. They're at like the main headquarters. Shoot them an email, let them know what pickup and delivery times you got so they're on the same page. And then of course let the carrier know as well, so they obviously know when to do their pickup and delivery. So if it's a new carrier you've never worked with before, I typically call 30 minutes ahead of the pickup just to make sure that they're on the right track. And then the same thing on the receiving side, just to make sure that everything is going to go smoothly. When the carrier, by the way, picks up the load, they have to have a BOL, otherwise known as like a bill of lading, in hand, which is basically like a receipt that you as a broker or agent needs to send to them that has all the load details, as well as sometimes a pickup number that the shipper gives you to put on the paperwork. So when the carrier arrives with that piece of paper, the person who checks in that driver will know that they are in fact associated to you. Like they are the ones that were for sure hired by you. So it's not someone who's trying to like steal their load, which does happen. Fast forward to delivery day, you're making sure the carrier is just arriving on time. Just make a quick call over to them, like a little bit before the delivery window, just to make sure that you can update your customer if there's any delays. So here's a big win for you. Like if you have clean bills upon delivery, that basically just means that the load arrived as expected and then it had no shortages or rejections. A shortage, by the way, just means that maybe the driver arrived and there's less product in there compared to when he was initially loaded, which is very, very rare. It's more so common in the ocean side of things when something is coming from another country. So now it's time for the paperwork. The broker or the agent collects everything from the carrier, which is like the BOL and the invoice. Basically, that's it. And then last but not least, you're basically closing out the load at this point. So organization here, especially on the paperwork side, is pretty important just to make it easy to upload everything on your factoring company's dashboard. So your factoring company can pay out your carrier, and then they'll pay you, which is typically just within like 24 to 48 hours. And then the factoring company then waits for the shipper to pay them back, while they then charge you about 1.5% of the load revenue to basically act as your bank. So boom, mission complete. I know you hear this like 50 times a day, don't kill me, but if you did find any of this valuable, hitting the like and subscribe, it would be awesome. And it might give you some good luck with getting awarded, some more freight. I'm just saying. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.